Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, I'm the ThesPNation. I'm an OG YouTuber that reviews luxury beauty all the time. And as I always say, please feel free to hit that like button, definitely hit that subscribe button, and most importantly, turn on those notification bells just so that you're aware of all the content that I have coming out. So of course, this video is all about the new NATASHA DENONA Triochrome palette. I'm very excited to bring this to you guys. I won't waste any of your time. I'm going to go straight into the looks. I went ahead and did 3 looks for you guys because this is designed per NATASHA DENONA. This is designed as to be, one row looks, so to speak. So the top row, the middle row, and the bottom row are all designed to work all together to create a signature look. And of course, you can use the palette any way you want to do it. However, I'm just going off of, what NATASHA DENONA has specifically said, what was the inspiration behind this palette and how this palette should be used. But of course, there's no rules in makeup. You can mix any shade combinations that you desire. But again, I'm going to go ahead and go in with the 3 looks. So here is look number 1. Okay guys, so for starters, I am wearing a lip shine. This is the luxury lip shine from St. Jane. They were so kind enough to send me some PR over. They sent me this gift set that you actually can purchase on Sephora.com. I will leave a link for that if you're interested. Comes with a mini of the serum, their luxury serum, and it also comes with this lip shine, and this lip shine is in the shade Tonic, which is just a nude, everyday, wearable pink, universal beige type of color, and it really, for my lips, it's kind of just my lips but better. And I will say that I am wearing a lot of it right now because my lips have been really dry over the past few days, and I ain't gonna come on camera with no ashy lip. And as I noted, a part of that set is the mini luxury serum, so I do have that on my face, and I've been using this for a couple days now, and I am absolutely in love with this serum already just because of how it smells. I love the way it smells. I love the way it feels on the skin. It absorbs very quickly, and one of the things that I really like about it is that, like I mentioned in a previous video, if you have a whitehead, anything like that, because I do a lot of at-home treatments on my skin and I'm just using products that, are pretty active. So with that happening, I do sometimes have, the occasional whitehead. So using this serum, I literally put it on and it just takes it right out, takes it away, heals the skin, because I personally am very prone to scarring actually. And so that's why I use certain products that are very concentrated or just products that I know are very effective. So I can say that that serum definitely does address that. That's the one thing that I noticed from me. Also, it just makes my skin just look radiant and just beautiful, glowing, and just very healthy overall. I will say that, I'm definitely going to buy a full size of this. So just so that you're aware, I've already prepped my lid, and I did use, of course, for Makeup by Mario, the Master Eye Prep and Set in the shade Deep. And again, I always go in with that shade that's on the left, just because I believe it's just the most pleasing on my eyelid. And then of course, setting it with the powder that's underneath the 2 cream shades that are provided. So because I want to actually take advantage of using all 5 shades in the green row, I'm going to actually start out with Ion, and this is just a matte yellow green, and I'm going to go ahead and just tap this initially and then start to blend it out. And I will say that while playing with these shades, especially this particular shade Ion, you really have to pack your brush for it to actually show up on your skin if you do happen to have brown skin. I'm pretty sure that if you were actually lighter in complexion, it would, be a color that would actually pop. But for me, it just kind of looks a little dusty initially, and it's like a barely there type of look. So I personally would recommend that you definitely need to have 1, a good primer, and 2, just make sure that you actually pack it on so you can really see it. And of course, you could just gradually build it up, but at the same time, I ain't got time for all that. Do as you wish. Now that I have that on, I'm gonna go ahead and layer on top of that crease and just deepen it just a little bit more, just to intensify that green. And so I'm gonna go in with the shade Veil, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, translates to green in French. And that particular shade, it looks kind of like I would say like a mustard green, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna go ahead again, pack in the center. I mean, not like intense, but just pack in the center. It's just a technique I do, all different types, there's no rules. And go ahead and just again, blend this out while layering it on top of the shade Ion, which kind of just makes it take on something else. And we'll say that this color, as opposed to Ion, this one really does pop and show up very well on my skin tone. And I will also note that this particular look that I'm doing, I just want, like I said, I want to showcase all the shades. However, with the look that I'm creating, I really don't even need to do this, technically. Now on top of that, I'm actually going to go in with the color Scrap. And this particular shade, I would describe this as somewhat like an army type of green, or I would say like a cement green, if that makes sense. Of course, this would be a great outer V color, but again, I'm just going to put this in the crease, just building, because of course in the crease you can put just 2 shades, you can put 1 shade. A lot of these shades that are actually in this palette are one and done type of shades if you want to do that, and especially if you're using a base that actually has pigment that is, you know, like your skin tone, like the one that I'm using for Makeup by Mario. You could also just use that as a one and done type of look, but again, I really just want you to see all the shades. So ultimately, as I'm doing this, I'm just, you know, essentially layering each shade on top of each other. And rather than having them actually get lost, it's actually creating dimension. And this relates back to when I was trained by Le Métier de Beauté, or as I used to always say, as you guys know if you're OGs with me, Le Métier de Beauté, darling. When they were actually fabulous and existed, I don't know, they're about 2 steps from going out of business from what I've seen. So one of the techniques that I was taught from a national artist is the technique known as couche de couleur, which is this like layering of colors to create beautiful dimension. And it's actually easier than this, and you wouldn't actually do it in your crease. It's more so something you do on the lids and just build your way up. If you would like for me to actually do a video on the couche de couleur technique, let me know. I think it's a really cool technique, and just doing this, it started to remind me of that technique. So again, in this particular look, you can see in the crease, it's just kind of like a fade of greens. So you're just seeing a series of different greens in the crease, which just makes for, you know, really pretty look overall. So now,
absolutely.
Okay, Siri.
Okay, here I go.
What?
Ahem. Hang on. Let me just clear my. Gosh, singing is harder than I thought.
Girl, rude. So now I'm actually gonna go in on the lid with the duochrome shade, which is Scarab, which is just this beautiful lime green that just transitions into like a yellow, almost a yellow orange type of color, just depending on how you tilt your head, what your, you know, eyelids are actually reflecting off of. It's a very beautiful duochrome. And for that, I'm actually going to use my finger to apply this. And as you can see, I barely touch my lid and it's just bam. It's beautiful. This is a stunning color. It's so weird, on my finger right now, it looks like a Christmas green, but when I'm looking in a mirror, it looks lime green. And then I can see yellow, and I can see like a hint of like a yellow orange. It's really cool. Like, and again, it just depends on what the light is bouncing off of. Now I'm just going back in with that EF2 brush, and on the outer corner I'm just putting a little bit of that shade Scrap again. Now on the brow bone, I'm just going to go in with the shade Androdite, which is like a very light mint type of color. And I actually had to look up what Androdite was because I was assuming it was some type of stone or something. It's part of the garnet family. And with that same brush, I'm just going in my inner corner and putting a drop of that Androdite in there. Okay guys, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face, finish the rest of the eyes, add lashes and all of that, and I'll be right back. I hope you guys enjoyed that look, and now I'm going to go ahead and show you look number 2. Okay guys, now we're going to go ahead and go into look 2, which is the middle row in this palette. And of course, I'm starting with the Master Eye Prep and Set from Makeup by Mario, and again, just applying that all over the lid. Then I just flip this EF1 brush and apply powder to set. And to start this eye look, I'm actually going to go in with the multi-chrome shade, which is called Kinetic, and it's described as a purple, pink, muted green. I can tell you personally, in person, I don't see any green at all. It must be real muted, like it's straight up on mute, because I don't see any green whatsoever. I do see a purple, pinky type of shift. It's very subtle. I would say out of all three of the multi-chromes, this one is the one where you really don't see much dimension. You don't really see a typical, you know, duochrome or multi-chrome type of look personally. Maybe it's just my skin tone. Definitely if you have this palette and you've tried it, let me know if you actually see something, because I ain't seeing it. And you know I'm just being 100% honest with you guys as usual. I'm just taking this on my lid like any NATASHA DENONA eyeshadow. It glides on, it's beautiful, pigmentation's there. It checks all the boxes. It's just the fact that it's a multi-chrome, and I mean, I can see purple, I can see pink. I'm not seeing a muted green really. I'm not seeing that at all, but it is very pretty. Now I'm just gonna take my EF1 brush and just soften up the edges just a little bit on that. Now I'm gonna go ahead and on the outer V portion, I'm going to deepen up the purple and apply the shade Manganese, and that one is described as an eggplant color. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and tap that on a little bit and just deepen it up a bit. This color shows up very well on my skin tone, and it's very beautiful eggplant purple. Now I'm just taking the EF2 brush from Makeup by Mario, and I'm just dragging that deep color into the crease to just deepen it up just a little bit. Now I'm just going to take an E5 brush and go in with the shade Tungsten. This is described as a toasted mauve color. Place that in the corner. Now I'm just going to go ahead and dip into Redux and Naga, and these two shades are very pretty lilac colors. Redux is described as a dusty lilac, and Naga is described as a pastel lavender color. So initially, I'm just going to pack this under my brow bone. And with my EF1 brush, I'm just going to go ahead and blend this out to almost nothing so that it's just a subtle highlight. Because of course, you don't want like some lilac highlight on your brow bone. That's intense. Okay guys, now that I have that all applied, I'll go ahead and do the rest of my face and we'll come back to a completed look. And with that, we have arrived to the third and final look, which of course is the look that I'm wearing. So now I'm going to show you how I arrived at getting this particular look. Okay guys, now I'm going to do the third look, which involves the final row that's in the palette. So of course for starters, I'm just going in with my Master Prep and Set from Makeup by Mario. So for starters, I'm going to go in with that multi-chrome shade, which is called Color Flip. And this is described as a fuchsia nude dusty green blend. And I definitely would agree, you can see all of that in this particular multi-chrome. I've heard some people mention Extraterrestrial as a comparison from Pat McGrath, but they are definitely different. I would say they're sisters. They're not twins. Not identical anyway. And I just love these textures. It just glides on the skin, just a buttery type of texture. It feels really nice. Now in the inner corner, I'm just going in with Plutonium, and this is described as a burnt mandarin. And I will say that you definitely will have to pack this because on my lids, it will not show up, or it'll barely show up unless I actually pack this on. Now further in the corner, I'm going to go in with Garmin, and Garmin is described as a peachy taupe. It's a very pretty color. Now in the inner corner, I'm going to go in with the shade Diatonic, and Diatonic is described as a vibrant light coral, which is very accurate. I just want to have it sit right next to Garmin so that you actually see kind of like a gradation of color. Very pretty. Now I'm just going to take my E5 brush and lightly tap on the brow bone in the shade Vertex, or with the shade Vertex. And this is described as a cool ivory. Of course, with brown skin, you don't want to go too far with this type of shade because you will look ashy. Like, it's so easy to just use these shadows. That's why I love using NATASHA DENONA products, specifically her eyeshadows and her lip products as well. Like, just easy. So ultimately, I wanted to have a focus on the shade Color Flip, which is the multi-chrome, and also put just a tinge of the shade Plutonium, the orange shade, just a little bit, and to just, you know, diffuse it just ever so slightly, just so that it's not too pronounced. I don't want it to be like a, you know, burst of orange on my eyelids. So I wanted it to just be a little bit softer, and this is where we are, and that's what I want. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my face, and I will be right back. Okay guys, so that's 3 looks for you to take in with this palette, and I hope you enjoyed that. So now we can actually discuss the palette, break it down, and see if it's actually worth your money. So here's the palette, and just like the actual 3 shades that are multi-dimensional or multi-chrome shades, the outer packaging actually does shift in color as well, which is kind of cool. Not sure if you'll see that on camera, but it does do a shift. So the specifics. This is a palette that comes with 15 different shades, retails for $129. I will say that I was a bit confused just because overall I am relatively new to using NATASHA DENONA products. I haven't collected all of her palettes. I only have, if memory serves me correct, I believe I only have 3 of her palettes, and one of them in particular is the bronze palette, which I've never reviewed for you guys, which I would love to show you guys. If you'd like me to review that, let me know. I mean, it's like November, so it doesn't really fit, but again, this palette doesn't even fit in with the season, so I guess it would be okay to do that. But the thing about it is that, you know, I was confused because, for instance, the bronze palette, 15 shades, and it's $65. However, this one is $129. So I had to actually do some math to see, you know, what was going on. In these $129 palettes, you're getting essentially almost double the amount of product. So that's really why you're spending so much. And if you were to compare, because a lot of people like to compare NATASHA DENONA to Pat McGrath's shadows, you're getting significantly more product for just, what, $5 or $4 more. So it's a great deal overall, but again, it's, you know, comparing apples to oranges just because Pat McGrath is a completely different experience. And I would say Pat McGrath, in terms of her packaging, it is luxurious packaging. This is nice packaging. This is okay, you know, and it's high end. However, it's not luxury to me. Pat McGrath's mothership palettes, that's luxury. And if you were to even compare a $65 palette to a $129 palette, you can clearly see that there's a difference in size. So this is, you know, just a little bit bigger, but again, overall the product you're receiving is significantly more product. So it's definitely more bang for your buck. And I do have every intention of buying every palette, but it's a process. So if you've used NATASHA DENONA eyeshadows, I don't need to tell you how amazing they are, or, you know, do they work, do they not work? There's no issue with her shadows as far as, you know, pigmentation, blendability, it's all there. There's nothing to discuss when it comes to that. However, I will say that essentially the 3 shades in the center are the multi-chrome shades, and then the rest of it is all matte. So I will say that on brown skin, because I hadn't seen someone actually review this with a deeper complexion, so I was really curious to see, you know, how this would perform on my lids. And I will say that there are some shades that, you know, it's not that they don't necessarily work, it's just you have to add a whole lot more than I'm used to actually applying when I'm doing a particular eye look. So when looking at the palette, I would say definitely shades like Tungsten, Naga, Diatonic, Plutonium, Vertex. These are shades that I definitely had to make sure to pack on. Overall, it kind of was the same for most of them. However, some of them did perform better than others in terms of, you know, just me being able to apply just a little bit and, you know, the pigmentation actually being there. But again, it's really not a big deal at the end of the day, just because the end result is absolutely beautiful and it does work out really well. I will say also, a lot of people said that these are pastels. I don't look at these as pastels. I don't consider these pastels. I would say that the middle row is very pastel-y, but, you know, overall these are not, you know, what I would consider to be pastels. And I must say that out of all of the rows, if I had to choose my favorite, it's kind of a tie for me. I would say that True Enthusiast, the middle row, and Trailblazer, the top row, those are probably my 2 favorites. I'm kind of leaning more towards choosing Trailblazer just because I really like green shadows and I love how it just plays and just bounces off my eyes, and it's really fun to use. However, you know, purples, you know, any types of colors like that are very complementary personally, so they always look really good. However, I would say that, you know, the actual green shade, which is Scarab, the multi-chrome shade, that one is probably the prettiest to me overall, which is why it's probably my favorite row out of the bunch. And I also must mention that out of the multi-dimensional shades, Kinetic, definitely for me, I'm not getting the description that, you know, NATASHA DENONA gives for this, because I don't really see multi-chrome. I don't see duochrome really. I kind of see, it's very subtle. I see more of a metallic satiny type of shadow, and that's really all that I see personally. However, leave feedback and let me know what you actually see in person, just because I looked at it in sunlight, you know, actually walking outside and looking at, you know, what do my lids look like, and, you know, I moved my face from side to side. I just didn't see any type of duochrome or multi-chrome. And, you know, one thing too about this palette, because it is called a triochrome palette, a lot of people, including myself, I was not paying attention, I guess, because I even posted this on Instagram about this palette and how I was so excited for it. I thought there were going to be a bunch of, you know, triochrome eyeshadows. However, it's just a row of 3 shadows that are multi-chrome, hence triochrome. So shame on me for not paying attention. I'm usually pretty meticulous, so whatever. Is it a palette for the winter? Absolutely not. This is something that, you know, I was running NATASHA DENONA. I definitely would have released this in February or early March, I would say. Mid-March, something like that. That would make a bit more sense, and then they could have rolled into the bronze palette. Like, you know, that would have actually made a whole lot more sense. But, you know, a lot of brands aren't making sense with a lot of the launches that they're having, just because the palettes and the products that are coming out don't really speak to, you know, the holidays. Overall, great palette. Highly recommend this. I will leave a link below if you would like to purchase this. This is an excellent palette. And of course, definitely go to Sephora.com right now, just because if you are BIB Rouge, you will get 20% off your purchase, which is what I chose to do. And if you are VIB, you get 15%. And I believe if you're a Beauty Insider, once that opens up for you guys, it would be 10% off while the sale is still active. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back with a whole lot more, guys. Bye. Oh, I was just about to take my wig off, but I just thought about the I Need a Nude lipstick. This is the shade. I also mentioned it in the video. I'm wearing the shade Nati. This lipstick is the bomb. If you've never tried NATASHA DENONA lipsticks, you're missing out. Bye.